Disclaimer, this video is entirely opinion based. I understand that Mario's Madness V2 is not everyone's favorite mod. I am simply explaining the reasoning behind why I believe it is the best mod. If you disagree, feel free to listen to me anyway. Or don't, it's your choice. Either way, I hope you enjoy the video. The Friday Night Funkin' modding scene in today's age is a lot different from the way it used to be. Really, I mean really different. Sure, it's only been 4 years or so since the game released its first version, but come on. Think back to the days where Kate Engine reigned supreme, and every other YouTuber was complaining about how Witty was the most impossible challenge to grace planet Earth. Or around the release of Week 7 and the Newgrounds server crash, or any other major landmark within the community. If you go back and look at what the modding scene was like during any of these time periods, you would most likely see drastic differences in both quantity and quality standards that fans would expect to be met by each and every new mod. Today, a mod that would be considered good around the time of Witty and Tricky would likely be quickly discarded after a week, a couple days, or just be plain ignored altogether. In some cases, some low-life hater might even take the time out of their day to make a post destructively criticizing the creator of said mod, putting them on a stake to be burned with other spineless losers who would congregate and join others to create these mass hate conglomerates that are oh so prominent in the digital landscape. Of course, in an opposite scenario, an average mod created today using the all too well-known Psych engine with decent graphic design and gameplay would seem like the second coming of FNF Christ to fans back in the older eras of the game. I mean, imagine showing a 2021 Friday Night Funkin' fan something like Imposter V4 and just try to envision how much they'd crap their pants. All this is to say that the general standard for what constitutes a good mod is constantly evolving. For as long as the game lives, I don't think there will ever be a true ceiling to be reached for how good a mod can be in terms of quality and scope. Throughout the years, the theoretical limits of what a Friday Night Funkin' mod can consist of have been constantly pushed and will continue to be pushed as long as fans have that passion to make and create. As a result, it's inevitable that the vast majority of mods that exist now will most likely be forgotten and discarded sometime in the future. Well, perhaps not entirely, but they most certainly will be outdone by other mods and pushed out of the limelight as a result, unless they get some sort of update. For example, Witty is one of the most revolutionary mods to have ever been released, created by Sock.clip, a mod that raked in tons of views and garnered tons of attention for its aforementioned difficulty and short animated segments. Despite all this, however, Witty is now simply considered to be old news. In terms of both quality and quantity, it holds little to the majority of most average mods seen today. Of course, this is not to devalue or discredit these older mods. It's rather just that the passage of time tends to affect the way all past creations are looked on in retrospect when being compared to what we have now. However, despite this, I believe there is one mod that goes contrary to this idea I've established here. One mod that shines so bright in all departments that I don't see its mark on the Friday Night Funkin' community ever fading whatsoever. Even in the future, when we have mods that are over 10 hours in length and consist of the most jaw-dropping and mind-boggling songs, animations, stories, and whatever else we have yet to see, I believe this mod will continue to prosper as one of the best. A mod which, in my opinion, was the first to properly do the whole creepypasta to FNF mod trope extremely well. While many have attempted in the past to have their mods' main characters be threatening, especially in creepypasta mods, none to my knowledge have ever managed to achieve what this mod does with ease. Not only does this mod manage to make their main antagonist extremely threatening to our two protagonists, but also includes banger after banger songs, a simple yet enjoyable story, amazing backgrounds and character art, smooth and fluent animations, and what do you know, lyrics, every Friday Night Funkin' fan's favorite. This mod is, of course, Mario's Madness V1 was initially released on February 21st, 2022, a couple of months after the release of the second version of Sonic.exe, which was released on November 25th, 2021. You know, that one mod with the evil blue hedgehog that forever changed the way Friday Night Funkin' mods were looked at within the community? The mod that inspired the creepypasta mod Rush and still has an impact on the FNF community today? You know, that mod? Yeah, this mario.exe mod followed about 4 months after the release of Sonic's big update debut. At the time, it was mostly seen by those with a critical eye as just another creepypasta mod, here to ride the new and popular creepypasta mod train. And to an extent, I could see why they saw it that way. The first version of the mod had 7 songs, all of which were decent, but nothing spectacular. These 7 songs, consisting of It's a Me, Golden Land, I Hate You, Alone, Apparition, Race Traders, and Powerdown, would all get remasters in the second version of the mod. But we're not there yet, so... The mod was alright, but again, it was definitely taking huge advantage of the recent popularization of creepypasta related mods. I mean, Sonic.exe, Mario.exe, come on man, it was right there. Somebody was bound to do it soon enough. And hey, if the initial plan for the mod was just to simply ride that hype train and hope for the best, then it definitely worked, as the mod would grow to reach a whopping 11 million views on the Community Games Showcase video. While all the songs in the first version of the mod had at least a couple things to be appreciated, the standout here was easily the song Powerdown, which featured the creepypasta character MX from the creepypasta game Mario 85. In my personal opinion, I believe the reason this song stood out among the rest was primarily due to its dodge mechanic, which required the player to press the spacebar when a POW block appeared on the screen. This song's visuals were also appealing to what the creepypasta mod fans were looking for. I mean, guys, look! Don't you see all the blood and the clouds? Look, it's Analog Horror Cloud and a creepy eye hill and the blood on the ground and Luigi's head on a spike and it's scary. It's scary. Oh my god. It's so scary. Give me your watch hours. So yeah, that about describes the entirety of the first version of the mod. It was definitely decent for its time, with an average count of songs to choose from, pretty clean art, and boyfriend vocals that didn't sound like a nuclear reactor meltdown. It was sure to be remembered as a solid mod of its time. Though, Mario's Madness wasn't content with being just solid for its time. No. It wanted more. Not only to be the best of its time, but to be the best of all time. Did I set up good for the next part? A week or so before the release of another popular creepypasta mod second version, Wednesday's Infidelity V2, which is fire by the way, if you haven't played that mod you should also check that one out, a trailer dropped on the official channel of Marco Antonio, lead developer of the Mario Madness mod team. Up until this point, it had been about 6 months since the release of the first build, and people were anticipating a V2 considering not only the first build's positive reception, but also the ending of the first build leaving the community on a cliffhanger, implying that more was soon to come. Sure enough, when this trailer dropped, people were pretty stoked. Said trailer would once again reintroduce our main antagonist from the first version of the mod, Super Horror Mario, yes that's his name, as he welcomes boyfriend and girlfriend back to his personal hellscape. It would also showcase some early versions of songs which would eventually become their respective final versions in the official release of the update, while also throwing in a not so subtle diss at Sonic.exe. The trailer would end with the mod being said to be coming soon, a phrase that Friday Night Funkin' fans have become all too familiar with at this point. Eventually, when the mod was said to be releasing in October of 2022, a bit later on, people quickly began to build up hype once again. Though, unfortunately, things wouldn't end up going so smoothly at first. With that being said, of course, soon people began to grow annoyed at the fact that V2 was taking a bit more time to cook than initially expected. So, being the completely reasonable people that FNF fans are, they constantly complained and whined to each other about how the mod was taking so long to release. This went on for a bit until 2023, when the first Funkcast premiered. For some context, Funkcast is a community-cultivated Friday Night Funkin'-related event hosted by Penkaru, where devs of both big and small mods alike can showcase bits and pieces from their mods in the form of short teaser trailers. Think of it like an E3 or State of Play, but specifically for FNF mods. During this specific event, all sorts of mods were showcased. This included big titles such as the Soft Mod, Funkin' at Freddy's, Oerple Guy, and Hypno's Lullaby. In addition, many smaller and less known mods were showcased as well. I would name some, but I don't think that'd be fair to any others I'd be leaving out. So instead of having me yap about them, I'll leave a link to Funkcast 2023 in the description, where you can check them each out individually for yourself. Well, after this video, cause I'm still talking, buckaroo. Anyway, soon enough, after about 57 minutes, the event was reaching its end. Fans were seemingly quite pleased with the array of high-quality mods presented to them over the course of the past almost hour, though they were aware that there was still a bit left to see. So, with bated breath, they waited in anticipation for something, anything more to further build their excitement. And sure enough, they got exactly what they were looking for. Though before we rush into that, a quick side note here. To those of you who continue to rush developers into pushing out their mods as fast as they possibly can, just stop. These are real people with real lives that don't entirely revolve around making Friday Night Funkin' mods. These mods you get for free, by the way, are purely passion projects that take a lot of time to fully produce and cultivate into a product that is satisfying to both the devs and the...
Some mod is never coming out. What? Have you seen the lack of teasers? These guys never get any work done.
First of all, what are you doing here? And second of all, how do you know?
It's almost a year delay. And unboxing said a coming spring. It's never coming out.
Have you been looking at Twitter again?
You mean X?
Twitter, X, whatever it's called. Those people are all just the children and they hate the bandwagoners. Don't tell me you actually believe them.
But then where is it? They've been a beta testing for several months, and it's still not out.
You do realize that the team members are doing this for free and for fun, right? But they are actual people with lives and schedules and not entirely dedicated to making Friday Night Funkin' mods. Those Twitter people don't care about the mod. They probably won't even play it themselves. You have a lot of nerves to be saying all of this to me.
But the trailer said October 2022.
I've had it with you.
You two are annoying me. I'll take care of this myself. I know you're watching this, little rat. And I know you've been waiting for me. Do not fret, as I'm closer than you think. We will settle this once and for all. Mario will get you next time.
So, how was that?
Halloween? Oh, you gotta be joking.
We should be able to make it this time. We almost have everything done,
And what if you don't?
Hold on, give me a second. There. Better?
Much better.
Yay, Halloween or maybe November 2023. I mean, December 22nd, 2023. So yeah, here it is. Mario Madness version 2 was released to the public on December 22nd, 2023, to be instantly met with, well, mixed responses actually. While many aspects were praised, such as the music, animation, sprite work, etc., some took issue with certain smaller aspects of the mod, such as the ending of the mod, which we'll get into later. Now, one last thing before we actually get into the nitty-gritty of the video. If you're enjoying the videos so far, or find yourself enjoying it as it progresses and want to see more like this in the future, please take a quick moment to consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. The response to my last Friday Night Funkin' video was absolutely mind-boggling, and I can't even begin to thank you guys for how much support you guys have shown me. I really do plan to get back to uploading more frequently for you guys, since you guys really do deserve it. My first 2 semesters of college have been keeping me pretty busy most of the time, but I am starting to find that I'm building a lot more of a strong work ethic recently to continue working on these longer and informative style videos for you guys. I got a lot of banger ideas in store, so again, if you want to see more of this, or more of me for some reason, please simply consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel. Either way, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. And with that being said, let's finally get into why exactly I believe Mario's Madness V2 to be the best Friday Night Funkin' mod to date. This video will consist of a deep dive look into the 3 main story songs of the mod, as well as some highlight songs which I believe deserve their own dedicated sections. At the end, I'll summarize my thoughts and form conclusions based on the aforementioned deep dive. Cool? Cool. First, let's start off by establishing the main story and progression of the mod itself. The story begins with our familiar protagonists, boyfriend and girlfriend, chilling on the couch. As they're both engrossed in their phones, the doorbell rings, which prompts the boyfriend to get up and answer the door. At the door, a Marco Antonio crewmate hands boyfriend a package that they have presumably ordered. Being the kind and lovable protagonist boyfriend is, he slams the door in the crewmate's face, and with whimsy and joy in their eyes, they both open the package to reveal... This looks innocent enough. Disgruntled and disappointed, boyfriend glances over to girlfriend for approval, and she shrugs back at him. With not many other options, boyfriend decides the best course of action is to put the mysterious, bloody Mario cartridge into the Nintendo. Now more confused than ever, boyfriend frustratingly spams the buttons on his controller in hopes that something will happen. Only to be grabbed and sucked into the TV. Only now does girlfriend notice that something is awry, causing her to get up and follow close behind her boyfriend into the abyss. This first part of the intro cutscene is not only very clean looking, but also does a fantastic job at initially setting up boyfriend and girlfriend to feel like actual people, rather than just flat one-dimensional characters. I feel like an issue in a lot of mods comes in the form of having boyfriend and girlfriend be very basic in terms of characterization and expression. Usually the common trope is that they are complete a-holes. In contrast, here we're able to pick up on multiple character traits from them in just over a minute. Based on their general ignorance and lack of constant awareness, it's easy to see that this mod's characterization of boyfriend and girlfriend is relying on those same tropes that they have built on through countless previous mods and base game stories. However, we also get subtle body language and shorter scenes that further structure these character traits, such as girlfriend's short glances up at boyfriend as he goes to grab the package, and when she becomes panicked after boyfriend goes missing, showing that she is at least partially aware of the space around her and not completely clueless in regards to all of her surroundings. Or in the short scene after they discover the cartridge, where boyfriend looks to girlfriend for approval on if they should go through with putting the cartridge into the console. This shows that while they both might be pretty stupid, they're not completely oblivious to potential dangers and harmful ideas. Something that a lot of mods make clear is the only character trait that their versions of boyfriend and girlfriend possess. Which, of course, there's nothing wrong with, but it's refreshing to see a mod where the protagonists are taken partially seriously while also staying true to their core fundamentals as characters. This aforementioned idea is only further brought into conversation in the second part of the cutscene. I love the change from normal colors to just black and red once they enter the TV. Of course, it's not very subtle or nuanced, but I believe it simply does a great job at setting the mood and fitting the shift in tone. Sometimes simplicity gets the job done. Anyway, upon screaming their lungs out and falling down into the depths of Super Horror Mario World, the first thing boyfriend does after getting bearings of his surroundings is quickly rush over to girlfriend in a panic to make sure she's okay. Only after this does he wipe his brow of sweat and continue onward into the darkness. Now again, it may be subtle, but I really like how you get a sense of the fact that these two really do care for each other. From the casual way that they treat each other in the house, to the way boyfriend reacts to the prospect of girlfriend being hurt, it really does make you connect further with both of them and hope that they can make it out of this conundrum together, safe and sound. Upon girlfriend giving boyfriend a smack over the head, he promptly begins to explore his supposedly newfound world. However, he quickly realizes that they're not exactly alone down here.
You looking for someone? Seems you don't recognize me. It's me, Mario. Almost.
Finally, we come to face with the main antagonist of the mod, Super Horror Mario, or M for short. First off, I just want to point out that the voice acting here from Red TV 53 is absolutely on point. I appreciate that rather than doing some generic, deep and brooding voice that some creepypasta mods would go for instantly, Mario Madness V2 actually takes a shot at replicating an actual Mario voice while making it sound sinister somehow. And I think it works really well actually. He'll become much more threatening in just a moment, but even in this introduction, his voice and vocal inflections do enough to make him feel like someone worthy of your attention. After his classic name drop with a clever addition of almost, we get a quick look at Boyfriend's horrified expression, which in a situation like this is reasonable. But don't worry, surely M isn't gonna kill them.
I'm not gonna kill you.
See, it's perfectly fine.
Yet?
Oh. Then, before M can explain the rules of this little game he's been cooking up, Girlfriend struts in front of the now cautious boyfriend and shows off her demon form. Now, in previous mods aplenty, Girlfriend is used as this sort of shield for Boyfriend. She can protect them from any possible danger at all times, which is heavily emphasized in mods such as Sonic.exe v2, where the only reason Boyfriend isn't dead by the end of Too Slow is that Girlfriend quite literally creates a bubble shield around him, which prevents anyone from directly attacking him. The solution to this problem for the almighty Sonic.exe Mr. I Am God? A rap battle. My point here being that, in most cases, the reason Boyfriend and his opponents usually battle in the form of song is that his opponents have no other method of attack since Girlfriend is constantly protecting him from any physical harm. Of course, this is not always the case, but in most other cases it's either simply a joke mod or the idea is just not delved into for one reason or another. Here, however, once Girlfriend flaunts her demonic powers at M, he doesn't seem too impressed. And in just a moment, we learn exactly why that is.
Oh, don't bother using your powers. They're useless here. This is my world.
And he's right. This is his world, quite literally. They are in Super Mario's world. Whatever outside powers anyone may bring into this realm don't matter once they're inside, since M controls all, sees all. The only reason he isn't killing the two right here and now falls under a couple of reasons actually, but they all come down to the fact that M simply likes to play with his prey. Like a lot of other creepypasta EXEs, but that's not the point. This not only explains plot points later down the line, but also officially establishes M as a true force to be reckoned with. He's not just some villain of the week anymore, he's an actual threat, and he sure as hell means business. First off, we come to learn that, like every other character in every mod to exist, M has a grudge against Girlfriend's father, former rockstar Daddy Dearest. According to the lore itself, M was initially an expert in the video game field who worked alongside Daddy Dearest back in the 90s. However, upon making quite the fortune, Dearest betrayed the human M and locked him away in a Super Mario Bros. Cartridge, in a similar fashion as Senpai from the base game. After a long 30 years of being sealed away, where have we heard that one before, M somehow discovered that old DD had started a family. He also learned of Dearest's son-in-law, Boyfriend, who has battled many foes in form of song. Upon being informed of such information, he managed to snag both said son-in-law and the Dearest's daughter into his own little world. We don't get much information in the cutscene itself, but we do get to hear M explain how he seeks to get revenge on Dearest by taking out Girlfriend. Though rather than murdering her right then and there, of course, he proposes a little deal to the both of them.
So, how's about we make a deal? 3 songs, just 3. Beat me, and I'll let you go. Lose, and you'll perish by my hand. Very well. Let's go.
Seeing no other way out, Boyfriend accepts the given terms. A Koopa paratrooper, which is named John Dick for some reason, descends from the sky to lend Boyfriend a trusty microphone. Suddenly, filled with confidence, Boyfriend strikes a pose, ready to take M head on. And girlfriend, well, isn't exactly impressed with her boyfriend's decision-making skills, considering the fact that M only technically made the deal towards boyfriend rather than both of them. Meaning he intends to kill girlfriend no matter what, but is only giving boyfriend a chance at escape, since he technically has no gripes with him in particular. If anything, one could call him a sort of fan. Boyfriend may be confident that he can save them both for now, but little does he know, this whole thing may just very well spell out doom for the both of them. And so the mod begins with the first song called It's-a Me, obviously inspired by the classically coined Mario catchphrase originally used in 1991's Super Mario World. The name itself is quite ironic, as it implies that who we are currently facing off with is in fact Mario, when obviously that could not be further from the truth. Right off the bat, girlfriend carries on with her cautious expression from the cutscene, as boyfriend looks smug as ever. This dynamic is nice to see, as girlfriend is more often than not entirely void of emotion, played for laughs, or again, a complete a-hole. Whereas here, even if not in any meaningful way, she still seems to play the part of the voice of reason or realism to boyfriend's constant, unwavering confidence. Most likely due to the fact that she can't use her powers whatsoever. Well, maybe not whatsoever, but again, we'll get there when we get there. As the song starts up, electric guitars begin to fade in, automatically sending a more fittingly grim tone in combination with the murky red surroundings. Soon enough, the vocals kick in, and that's when the fun truly begins. I love how, again, the vocals here do sound as if Mario is actually singing, rather than having some deep, booming, distorted vocals to make the character more quote-unquote spooky. Version 1 had a similar tone to M's vocals, however, it lacked a certain bassy / booming sound that version 2 vocals definitely nail a lot harder on the head. In general, the V1 vocals also lack that sinister feeling that the current vocals deliver on. It feels like you could apply the same vocals to a normal Mario FNF OST and it still worked just fine. However, with V2's vocals, the distortion and other applied effects make M's vocals sound sorta like Mario, but different enough where you can easily tell something is amiss. In terms of the sprite visuals, for a character as seemingly unserious as Super Horror Mario, the mod does a fantastic job at selling M as a truly menacing yet precise monster. His erratic and playful movements, such as in his left pose, where he spins a cleaver in his right hand while ominously staring back at boyfriend, do a great job at reflecting his previously established personality. The sprite transitions themselves are very fluid, and don't clash with the other sprite movements, such as girlfriend's idle bobbing in the background. Lastly, his overall design, while not much to talk about, does exactly what it's supposed to do in all the right ways. It's Mario, with spooky red eyes and a cleaver, and blood. Though as the song progresses, something happens about just over 2 minutes in that only further emphasizes the song's dramatic tone. Up until this point in the mod, we have only seen boyfriend as his usual sarcastic, charismatic self, partly because he clearly doesn't see the imminent danger he's in, partly because he's never lost before, and also likely partly because he doesn't want to look scared in front of his girlfriend, who already appears terrified enough. But then, it's only when M stops to laugh as his eyes fade to black that boyfriend takes a second to analyze what's in front of him and realizes how much they screwed up by putting that cassette into the console. Now with that last remnant of his semi-real, confident facade gone, M shows his true colors and the song's beat switches up. Surely though, this won't spell out any further danger for boyfriend. Okay, well never mind then. Coming to terms with the situation he's in, boyfriend has no other choice than to lock in and avoid certain death to these extremely damaging poison mushrooms. This beat switch is not only effective for the dramatic shift in tone, but holy does this part go absolutely hard. As if he wasn't already menacing enough, the change in song speed and slight changes in instrumentation make for an even more intense battle against this fear-inducing foe. Also, it may just be me, but I could swear that his vocals become even further distorted during his second half of the song. which, of course, only adds to the dreadful yet exciting feelings that the song brings on. Soon enough, the song begins to reach its climax as M and Boyfriend sing together and harmonize. Flames rise up from the background and engulf the screen in a bright orange glow. With each note that he sings, M's voice becomes further distorted and farther away from the cheerful plumber we once knew. And then, as Boyfriend strikes one final hold note, the song fades out with a pixelated transition to black. With that song over, Boyfriend, now realizing the imminent danger they've put themselves in, steps in front of Girlfriend to protect her. However, M doesn't exactly seem too keen on stopping here. After all, they still have 2 more songs to go. Now that he's shown that he means business to the both of them, M seemingly no longer feels the need to test the duo, and returns to simply playing with the 2 of them. Though, this doesn't mean that he intends on going easy whatsoever. In fact, with one swift motion, M grabs both Boyfriend and Girlfriend by their shirts and tosses them up onto a platform above. Across from said platform stands M, now on his own separate platform, as the flames rise up from where they once previously stood. They were lucky enough to survive that first round, but now they'll need a miracle to get out of this one. So, M snaps his fingers as the most badass intro for an FNF song you've ever heard kicks in. Then he begins to sing out, signaling the beginning of Starman's Slaughter, one of my favorite personal tracks to come from the mod, if I'm being entirely honest. The name itself is in part a reference to the superstar, or Starman, that Mario uses in all the games. And the slaughter part, well, do you need me to spell it out for you? The song itself comes on a lot stronger than the first musically. When taking a glance at the background, ignoring the flames, the castle is visible in the distance, with some other more grassy platforms being closer to our characters. Said platforms are held up by dirt with eyes seemingly fused into them. The lowest of these grassy platforms has a POW block on it, which if you have any Mario knowledge whatsoever, would lead you to believe that it'll come into play soon enough. On our main platforms, we can see that Girlfriend has fully collapsed to her knees behind Boyfriend, who now stands to protect for both of them. Not used to being in this situation, he's clearly a lot more nervous than the oh-so-jubilated M, who stands before them striking the same playful poses he did in the first act of It's a Me. You gotta understand that this guy, after 30 years of being trapped in this Mario cassette, is finally getting what he views as his shot at revenge at the man who trapped him here. Hence his constant happy expression and expressive poses not just being for show. And hence why he only continues to snap along when this undead Koopa paratrooper from earlier, I'm not saying his name again, pops in to deliver a sick trumpet solo on top of this banging track. I like how the snaps here are actually audible and aren't just for show on M's idol. They definitely go along with the music quite well and add a sort of charm to the song. After BF duets for a short bit with Mr. Trumpet Koopa over here, M joins in with his own short burst of energy. Boyfriend repeats the burst back at M, and they repeat this as the music builds in the background. Then, when it seems like M is about to go off on his own little solo, something interesting happens. Yeah, so remember that POW block I brought up earlier? Well, I can assure you that M most certainly did not remember. Filled with pride, confidence, and joy at the prospect of finally getting his sweet revenge, M fails to realize his mistake in leaving that POW block up for grabs. And naturally, our good old friend Yoshi, or Yoshi.exe, but you guys aren't going to seriously make me call him that. Right? Right? Ugh, okay. Yoshi.exe comes in to take advantage of M's lacking awareness with this super smooth spin and ground pound onto the POW block. This, of course, causes the much less aware and careless M to fall directly off the platform as the duo watches, keeping their ground. Then, as Yoshi idles there for a couple seconds, a familiar princess floats onto the platform on which M once stood. The beat itself mellows out as Boyfriend takes the lead for a moment. This moment is usually a shock to almost anyone that's either watching the mod for the first time or playing it for the first time. I sure as hell know it shocked me. Okay. Huh? Yo, what? Whoa, 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 whoa.
Peach and Yoshi?
It also serves as a point to show that M is not completely invincible or uncounterable here. Yoshi is able to catch him by surprise, which sends him plummeting into the flames. And I mean, sure, he isn't dead, but I like that the mod allows you to perceive M not as this indestructible, untouchable being, but rather as a ruler of a land which he has made his own, but regardless, he's still a person prone to making mistakes, which we'll see more of later. Though, for now, this moment also serves as a nice break in the song, as Super Horror Peach and Yoshi.exe both sing out against Boyfriend. I personally really like both of their vocals and sprites, especially Peach's down sprite and Yoshi's left sprite, both looking super creepy and super dope. The slow build-up that follows their introduction is honestly one of my favorite parts of the song. It just feels so foreboding and introduces a sense of impending doom that the rest of the song is sure to keep going. Though after Yoshi and Peach have their time in the spotlight, singing, battling, and harmonizing with each other, we come to learn that our primary foe isn't exactly satisfied with this outcome. So, of course, Peach is the first to get offed, being sliced in half as Yoshi watches. Then, as Peach's lower half fades away, Yoshi has M's cleaver thrown directly into his nose. Yeah, I didn't think he'd be too happy with his revenge plan being thwarted either. As he comes back into view, it's easy to see that the flames certainly did a number on him physically. His sprites now showcase his melted skin and tattered clothes. His lower jaw is left in shambles, showcasing his lower set of sharp teeth on full display. His right forearm is completely missing, and the bone is entirely visible, extending past what now exists of his right arm. No matter how much pain he may be in, M still has a job to do in his eyes. He must get his revenge, no matter the cost. After all he's been through, he's not ready to give up just yet. Though, unfortunately for him, Boyfriend doesn't seem ready to give up either. So, as the music swells, they both begin what is sure to be one of their final duets. Boyfriend, having done this oh so many times before, manages to prevail to the final note. In one final bout of rage, M screams into the void, and with that, the song finally fades to black. Trepidatious and wary, Boyfriend stares M down with uncertainty. The deal was for 3 songs only, meaning this next one must be the last. But surely M had intended for the two of them to already be dead and buried by now, his revenge plot filled. This suspicion soon becomes all but confirmed, as we get a look at M's face, battered and torn, his smile no longer present as he stares at the two with no good intentions likely in mind. Though, before anything else can happen, Boyfriend takes initiative and grabs Girlfriend by the hand. In a panic, seeing no other way out, he leads them to the edge of the platform and jumps off. Luckily for them, however, they happen to land on a warp star, sending them away from this accursed place. Intrigued, M stands where the two had fallen and speaks.
So, they found the warp star, which means, eventually, they'll stumble across the others. But don't worry, Mario get you next time.
Phew, okay, that was a lot. Now from here, the mod breaks away from the quote-unquote main story to introduce us to the world map. This is where the majority of the mod's runtime is spent, going between the 5 different worlds that the mod has to offer. In each of these worlds, all sorts of different songs related to Mario or the Mario franchise or community as a whole can be found. Each world has a set theme, which dictates what kind of songs will be there. For example, the third world, dubbed Content Cosmos, is primarily dedicated to takes on Mario derived from YouTube or other content-related sites, such as Luigi's Day Out Mario from Hot Diggity Demon, or Racist Mario from the classic Flash Gits animation. On the other hand, the fourth world, dubbed Hellish Heights, contains characters that are more closely related to Mario-related creepypasta games, such as Mr. Virtual, Mr. L, and of course, MX. This entire portion of the mod is honestly a pretty smart and creative idea in my opinion. Technically speaking, every single one of these songs are canon and part of the main story as they take place in M's world. Considering the fact that he controls Mario and everything Mario related in this world, All of these characters that we come across and battle are beneath him. In most mods, the majority of these songs wouldn't fit very well into a main story and would be cast away to free play. However, here it makes perfect sense for all of these various different songs to be part of the main story, no matter how silly they are. For obvious reasons, I won't be extensively going over every song in the mod. I will rather be touching on specific songs throughout this amazing mod, which I personally care about the most. Obviously, I believe that every song in this mod is worthy of attention and praise, hence why I call it my favorite and, my opinion, the best mod currently out there. But if I was to go over why I think every song is spectacular in this mod, we'd be here for way too long. More time than you're willing to listen to me ramble on and on, that's for sure. Plus, I assume that if you're watching this video, you've already seen the mod and everything it has to offer. If you haven't, well, go play it, dude. I mean, like, come on, the thing's been out for a year now. Like, what have you been doing all this time? Have you been living under a rock? Anyway, yeah, here we go. The first song I'll be highlighting in this section of the video is Alone, the first song in the Woodland of Lies, featuring the character of Beta Luigi. This somber fella is initially derived from the game Luigi's Mansion, specifically from the game over screen, in which Luigi, after failing to save his brother, falls into a deep state of depression, characterized by his blank stare and hazy white eyes. The song itself definitely fits the game over screen and its context, with Luigi sitting outside the mansion gates in a slouched position. As he sings to himself, boyfriend and girlfriend appear as ghosts directly behind him. This, in turn, causes him to rise from his sitting position to sing with them. The melody is very melancholy and downbeat, carrying with it a looming feeling of doom and regret. It's something that we aren't used to seeing, as Luigi is typically depicted as being very cautious but chipper regardless as long as he's with his brother. Though, of course, this is no longer the case. In Luigi's defeated vocals, you really get a sense of his anguish over the death of his brother. Call me an overthinker, but I think the way in which FNF vocals are pitched can really affect the emotion of a song. The song only gets better, however, as the drums and the duet kick in around 1 minute and 10 seconds. Here, the song keeps its melancholic feel while also managing to become a huge jammer in the process. The duet sections in this song work really well between Luigi's and Boyfriend's vocals. Speaking of boyfriend and girlfriend for that matter, I really love the custom sprites they receive as ghosts during the song. Sure, we've seen them as ghosts before in mods such as Imposter v4, but these designs have a certain charm that the others don't really match up to in my opinion. I particularly really like the yellow eyes that they're both given, and the dripping of the sign on Boyfriend's shirt. Also, the wavy sort of effect I think added to Boyfriend's vocals really adds to the vibe of the song. I don't know, I just like the way they sound. But easily, the biggest highlight of the song comes at the 3 minute and 20 second mark, where Mario appears as an illusion behind the mansion gates, trapped inside of a portrait by King Boo. Here, this ghostly Mario, known as Beta Mario, surprise surprise, duets with Beta Luigi. If you listen closely during this bit, you can actually hear the pair speaking to each other. It's kinda hard to hear, as Boyfriend joins in on the duet soon enough, but luckily you can hear it quite well in the instrumental version. From here, the song carries on as it previously had, for a short while before Boyfriend and Girlfriend finally fade away. Left alone, Luigi returns to his sitting position. No one left to talk to, nobody left to face. He finally succumbs to his sadness and gives up. In this slump, he sings one last time to himself, his final note being one that sounds more like his actual voice, likely to give one last look back at the person he was, and likely will never be again. The first version of this song was really quite different from its second, much better version. This version contained human versions of our main duo, and a much less somber sounding Luigi. It doesn't help that the instrumental didn't bring much of that melancholy feeling either. So all that was really left to be offered was some decent artwork in terms of sprites and backgrounds, and this, I guess. Overall, yeah, massive improvement. Good job, team.
You thought the Koopa worked alone?
Ooh, time for our first duology. Coming directly after Alone, the next song, or should I say 2 songs I'll be touching on here, were actually initially supposed to be the entire premise of the mod itself. The I Hate You creepypasta was the plan to go by, but then, sorry I'm probably gonna butcher this, DeWatt suggested adding MX to the roster. Eventually, the list of characters they wanted to add became so large that the mod deviated from its initial purpose to create something entirely different and new. The 2 songs Oh God No and I Hate You make up all of what's left of the creepypasta within the Mario Madness mod now. Which isn't a bad thing. I mean, would it have made it onto the highlights list here if it wasn't amazing? The first of these 2 songs, Oh God No, introduces us to the main 2 iconic characters we've come to love, in a very odd scenario indeed. Rather than fighting alongside each other, Mario and Luigi are butting heads in a seemingly serious manner. This creepypasta follows a story in which Mario, a heroic plumber, stumbles across Luigi in Bowser's castle, discovering that Luigi has secretly held a strong resentment for his brother for years now. This being primarily due to the feeling that he was always in his brother's shadow, resulting in a growth of festering hatred, which has been consistently growing up until this very moment, where the 2 brothers finally face off. As made apparent by his facial expressions and his health bar icon, Mario is extremely reluctant to fight his brother. On the contrary, Luigi shows nothing but persisting hatred and anger towards his distraught brother. The song itself is a whole banger, containing Mario vocals from the 2 television Mario series titled The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World, which were originally released in 1990 and 1992 respectively. Despite being a 2000s baby, I still watched these shows and the original series from '89 a crap ton when I was a kid. So hearing these vocals during my first playthrough of the mod was a nice nostalgia trip within itself.
Coins? I call that highway robbery.
Well, I call it inflation, in more ways than one.
This song in general just does a great job at sounding like an actual argument, with the combination of fitting sprites and duet sections that mimic the 2 attempting to shout over each other. The whole song brings a very tense and stressful mood to the table as Mario attempts to console his brother. About halfway into the dispute, the background of Bowser's castle fades out as Mario and Luigi become red and green silhouettes respectively. The music takes on a more somber tone for this section, as a pink silhouette resembling Princess Peach fades into view between both of them. From here, the song borrows an idea from Alone, where the actual lyrics are being featured yet barely audible over the vocals. Luckily, once again, you can hear them quite well in the instrumental version. Take a listen. After this section, the brothers go into another argument duet section, in which Mario seemingly makes his final attempt in helping his brother. This section in particular just sounds really great in terms of vocal patterns and melodies. Always gotta rewind it on re-listens cause damn does it hit. However, we then get this voice line from Luigi after a quick jump scare, which essentially seals his fate.
Why won't you die?
From there, the song begins to build up to the final line, having the 2 sing together one final time. As the flames and embers rise and fall from below, Mario makes his final decision to hit Luigi off into the sweltering lava below. In a desperate final cry, Luigi proclaims his hatred for Mario, before plummeting down below into what is surely his demise. After watching his brother burn alive as a result of his actions, despite his betrayal, Mario cannot bear witness any longer. With a single tear hanging from his right eye, he tips his hat down over his face and walks away. Though, it appears he was not the only witness to these actions, as boyfriend attempts to approach him from behind. However, while pursuing the red plumber, a hand rises from the fiery depths of hell. Thus, the song I Hate You begins, titled after the creepypasta it and Oh God No originate from. This song is typically one that people reference in terms of bangers from this mod, and it's definitely for a reason. Not only that, but it's a major improvement over its first version, similarly to Alone. In terms of visuals, song composition, sound, vocals, sprite work, everything just stands out and sounds so much better. That being said, the first version isn't terrible, and unlike Alone, its second version isn't an entire remake from the ground up. This new version, however, just feels so much fuller in terms of sound quality and musical structure. As much as I would like to be, I'm not a very technical guy when it comes to music, though I can appreciate and hear differences when they're present. And here, everything is just so much more pronounced and impactful. From the drums to the vocals, everything just has more oomph, if you will. Luigi's newer vocals also feel much less abrupt and carry a lot more anger within them as well, compared to the original at least. The new sprites are fantastic, featuring not only a rehauled version of I Hate You Luigi, but also Mario stylized versions of Boyfriend and Girlfriend. The poses in this song give off a much more cocky feel than usual, with Girlfriend cracking a snarky smile and Boyfriend just being overall more confident and expressive, which is definitely something his character needed to be. Their adversary is just about on par as well, as Luigi is more frustrated and expressive than ever too, his up and right sprites portraying this quite well. However, when the lava begins to rise, that's when this song truly kicks into high gear. This mechanic is actually one that I enjoy quite a lot, as it prevents you from viewing the lower, or upper if you're down scroll and weird, half of your screen. This in turn forces you to react much faster than you normally would in any other song. With less time to react to incoming arrows, the mod is nice enough to provide the player with a slower hold note section when the lava is at its highest point. Even then, it still provides an extra fun challenge, forcing the player to lock in and pay attention to what's happening on their screen. As faceless boos quote-unquote stare on in the background and undead Marios rise from the lava, Luigi and his boyfriend engage in one last harmony duet before Luigi falls to his knees. His guard is now finally down, so boyfriend takes the opportunity to send Luigi flying back into the lava once again for the final time now. Welcome to Last Course, starring the character of Turmoil. Turmoil was initially just, well, a normal version of Mario. This was, of course, until he decided to consume a mushroom containing the remnants of game code for Yoshi, thus giving him the ever-hungry mind of a Yoshi. However, this resulted in Mario turning into a monster who consumes any enemies in his wake, a bloodthirsty beast who our protagonist happens to stumble across in a shrub clearing. This is the first song in the mod chronologically to contain a dodge mechanic and health drain, which honestly just makes the song that much more fun in my opinion. This exists, of course, to dodge Turmoil's tongue as it launches out of its mouth in an attempt to consume Boyfriend. It appears that the creatures strung about the clearing weren't so fortunate as to avoid his deadly appetite. So now, it comes down to us to best this beast once and for all. I personally just love Turmoil's design in this song, as he really does just give off this mentally deranged and insane vibe from just his idol alone. I know his design was changed by the creator, but still, I also like this design in the mod itself a little bit better. His sinister smile, wide eyes, and dark yellow teeth only further sell you on the idea that this Mario is long gone. I also find it neat how his voice incorporates Yoshi-like sounds to suggest his corruption as a result of Yoshi's code being infused into his own. With the terrifying sprites, dramatic instrumental, deranged vocals, and mechanics, this song easily becomes one of the most intense we've seen up to this point in the mod. The instrumental itself has become one of my favorites in the entire mod as well, with a very anxiety-inducing and intense vibe throughout, featuring heavy drums and short breaks for attacks that can leave the player lost for a couple seconds in a bout of confusion. While all of the song is genuinely amazing from a musical standpoint, my favorite part has to be from 1 minute and 42 seconds onward. This part features a key change in which the two of them duet before we come to what seems like it could be the end of the song. Eventually, we end on a whole note from both characters, which would normally signify the end of a song given the context. However, we then quickly learn that this is a fake out, and the song then immediately starts back up with a vocal build and attack from Turmoil. From here, the song very quickly enters its true final phase after 2 normal verses, where Boyfriend and Turmoil duet as attacks go off every now and again. This whole part has to be one of my favorite parts in the entire mod, to be honest, despite everything else it has to offer. From a musical standpoint, it just feels so climactic and, for lack of a better term, awesome to hear these two duet one final time. As the duet ends, we come to hear 2 final closing verses from both of them, ending on a note from Boyfriend. Though before the track ends, we hear Turmoil launching up another attack. However, you're unable to input a dodge here in game, which implies that Boyfriend dies at the end of this encounter with Turmoil. Now we're getting into the real meat. GB, or Golden Boy, is a mario.exe character created by the developer of the mod, actually, Marco Antonio. He's based off of a pirated copy of Super Mario Land 2, and he sure as hell doesn't F around with anybody. He may appear innocent at first, but soon enough, he'll be sure to drop this facade. In terms of EXE mods, GB definitely takes on the main faker idea that other horror mods such as Sonic.exe have done in the past. However, in this case, the change is much less drastic, yet so much more appealing and effective. The song Golden Land begins with a neat chiptune style melody. GB just appears as another Mario with a black and white color scheme mimicking the game he's from. This song, unlike the others in the mod, takes place entirely in a pixelated environment, similar to Senpai's environment from the official game. In fact, the same Boyfriend sprites from week 6 of the base game are used here, just, of course, with a monochrome effect applied. As the song progresses, it doesn't take long for GB to reveal his true colors. As Golden Boy transforms into the Greater Beast, we get a look at one of the most horrifying displays this mod has to show, with the second biggest song improvement from V1 in my opinion. Despite also only being a remake like I Hate You, this version feels so incredibly dramatic and haunting, especially with those hard-hitting guitar booms at the start of the transition. Like, come on, just listen to the difference here. Not to mention that the entire song has a completely different vibe, despite what would normally seem like just some slight changes to the instrumental being done in the original version. Rather than a more chaotic and sporadic feel that the first one goes for, the second version feels a lot more organized and sinister. It helps that the sprites just look so much better and flow so well. Sure, the first version sprites were creepy, but I mean, are you seeing the way this guy is moving right now? The way his body stretches itself with those facial expressions does little to put me at ease, not like he cares. Especially in his laughing sprites, where the audio glitches as he stretches his body to the sky in a menacing pose. Now compare that with V1, and you'll get my point pretty quickly. I mean, sure, it's not like terrible or anything. In fact, I'd say the first version is still pretty good, all things considered. But the improvement between these versions is just outstanding. And I can confidently say that the newer version of Golden Land is one of my favorite all-time Friday Night Funkin' songs. Also, the fact that Girlfriend just pops up from the background looking unamused and the blocks getting scared when GB transforms always gets a little exhale through my nose when I notice it. Okay, so admittedly, I initially wasn't a huge fan of the song for this one, but after some time it definitely grew on me and oh my god, this song is fantastic. No Party is hands down the most creative song to come out of this entire mod, and that goes without saying. For starters, the song forces your screen into an aspect ratio similar to that of a Nintendo DS. From there, you're greeted with a Mario Party DS startup screen, as if you were actually playing an emulation of Mario Party for the DS. However, it quickly becomes apparent once you click start that this isn't your average round of Mario Party. No. This is a pirated emulation of Mario Party DS after all, right? And if you weren't made aware by now, piracy is a crime. So, as a result, you'll be delivering your apologies to the one, the only DJ Halibou. For reference, DJ Halibou is the primary antagonist of Joey Perleone? I think I got it right. Mario Party DS Anti-Piracy series, which is available for anyone to watch on YouTube. He's essentially this hidden anti-piracy measure placed inside the game, forcing those who attempt to pirate the game to write out their apologies and admit their faults to him. So of course, the actual mod has you write out words with your mouse as you play. What the fuck? This is genuinely a never before seen mechanic, at least to my knowledge. And in tandem with the aspect ratio and absolute banger song, this song easily ranks up there among the best. In fact, from what I've seen, this song happens to be some people's favorite in the entire mod, which honestly, I can understand. The mechanic is so unique and presents a challenge to all players. Since, let's be honest, nobody is amazing at writing with their cursor. Depending on how well you can write out your apologies, DJ Halibou will take away a certain amount of your HP from your bar, causing you to instantly die if you're on too low HP or you just suck at writing. The UI change is absolutely fantastic in setting the vibe as well, as Boyfriend and Halibou lie at the bottom of the screen, with Boyfriend trapped in a cage looking disgruntled and over the whole situation already. The arrows also have their UI changed entirely, with different colors and shapes. Overall, this song manages to make a mod feel like its own independent game, which is extremely impressive. And that one part with the electric guitar and the spotlight comes on as you panic to write out criminal, like guys, come on, what is there not to love here? Halibou's design is also one of my favorite designs to come from the entire mod. From what I've seen, his appearance in the series is actually quite different from the mod's version. Here in the mod, he dons a constant smile, while in the series, that smile is replaced by a constant frown. Honestly, I really do prefer the mod's depiction, in addition with his goofy top hat named Tigbop and his stupid buck teeth. So yeah, overall, banger song, banger UI, banger overall sprites and visuals. Oh yeah, and he's confirmed by the devs to be pan, so that's pretty nifty if I do say so myself.
What sexuality is DJ Halibou? I can answer this, he's pansexual.
Yeah, that's canon.
It's canon.
Hey, so remember how I said that No Party was the most creative FNF song I've seen to date? Well, I was wrong, because this song easily takes the cake. This song is not only my third favorite song in the mod, but is also officially the most creative song I've seen in FNF, period. Sorry No Party, I still love you, mwah. To start off, this song features quite possibly the most visually horrifying character in the entire mod. Mr. Virtual, or V for short, is the primary antagonist of the upcoming Curse of the Crimson Phantom series. He was initially shot dead near a display stand for the Virtual Boy at 1995's E3 event by a detective named Thomas Anderson. As a result, the blood that was spilled onto said Virtual Boy caused it to be haunted by the soul of the once human serial killer. One day, he hopes that he will be able to trap a victim in his little game as V and take their body as a vessel to kill the detective who murdered him all those years ago. V's vocals are extremely fitting for how he looks, being extremely garbled and glitchy in comparison to the other characters from the mod. In terms of visuals, the entire screen is now coated in a red and black color scheme with differently textured arrows. Boyfriend dons the same old default sprites he typically has, despite now being entirely red and black. On the other hand, V looks downright horrifying and entirely abnormal. His lanky limbs and abnormally stretchy body make him feel huge, which he is, standing at a whopping 13 feet 5 inches. His glowing eyes and uncanny smile only add to the creepiness factor, as he stares directly at the player during his idle and left animation. I believe the aforementioned left sprite is supposed to be a reference to Lord X's sprite from vs Sonic EXE 2.0, but I could be wrong. Now, you're probably asking, unless you've already seen the mod, hey SDB, this sure sounds cool and all, but what exactly makes this more creative than No Party? Well, I'm glad you asked, because now we can get into the best part of this entire song, the mechanics. See, V's whole gimmick is to just F with the player. He makes it a point to do just that during this 3-minute and 30-second track as much as he possibly can. This includes moving the tab all across your desktop, forcing it to start and stop in tandem with the music, creating illusions to trick you, and so on and so forth. Now, this has all been done before, maybe not in the same exact ways, but regardless, it's nothing mind-blowing. Well, that is, until Mr. Virtual starts to speak. In less than a second, Mr. Virtual changes your desktop background on all monitors you may have to an image displaying the text "too late" over and over again on a black background in red text. All your other tabs aside from the game become minimized as the mod itself zooms in and takes over your entire primary monitor. In the background, your own files are even visible on your desktop screen. If you weren't already shocked, once the mod eventually decides to zoom back out, your background stays as the "too late" text until the song is over at least. From there, the mod goes back to windowed mode. We see our first instance of Boyfriend being purely and utterly petrified, using sprites that we haven't seen up to this point. This is most likely due to V manipulating him into thinking he had killed Girlfriend, the one thing Boyfriend is terrified of beyond belief. As the song progresses, the instrumental switches up as the screen begins dividing and multiplying itself within the window. A visual distraction for the player and further disorientation for Boyfriend, most likely. As this goes on, V brings the song to its peak and climax, him and Boyfriend going at it with Boyfriend specifically hitting lots of high notes. The song then slowly winds down with some real neat vocal melodies, the two of them duetting as the screen goes back to normal. Finally, with a harmony section that is ended by Boyfriend, the song comes to its conclusion.
Yo soy Reggie, mamma mía, Reggie.exe, soy amigo de Mario Más. Oh, así es.
Yes, here we finally are, the Go Pico, yeah, Go Pico song. Similar to No Party, this is one that I somehow wasn't the biggest fan of upon first hearing it. I mean, yes, of course the events within the song were cool on a first viewing. I mean, it's Pico. But for some reason the song itself just didn't stick out to me among the others I had played up to that point. And now, reviewing this over a year later, yeah, no, I was completely wrong. This song slaps. The song starts with this real neat cutscene, featuring our beloved Pico as he enters boyfriend's house to discover the TV through which the lovebirds were pulled into M's abyss. Curious yet likely apprehensive, Pico approaches the TV to get a closer look, only to be pulled in by M as well. Though once he lands in M's world, he finds that he's faced to back with a different character we've yet to see. And thus Overdue begins, with Pico staring at Mr. L. I don't know what I was saying. Mr. L is another primary antagonist of his own creepypasta, dubbed toolate.exe, created by Mr. Pixel. In this creepypasta, after Mario's actions accidentally resulted in Luigi's demise, Luigi morphed into a demented spirit, out to mock and torture his brother for all of eternity. Though eventually, at the end of the creepypasta, he ends up knocking Mario into the exact same lava pit he once fell into all those years ago. This song begins super classic Faker style, with Mr. L in his Faker form standing with his back against Pico, who is currently kneeling on top of a car with a scar causing blood to leak down the side of his face. The whole setup gives me massive Too Slow and Obituary vibes from the Sonic.exe mods. The whole reveal is done in such an awesome way. Rather than cutting to black or having Mr. L just slowly transform into his bigger form, we get this super fast and smooth transition from small Mr. L to big Mr. L. Rah. With Pico quickly cursing him out in blatant confusion, the real song begins. This whole intro sequence only consists of 2 verses before Pico pulls out his gun, quotes Samuel L. Jackson, and begins to fire off shots at the Luigi-like monstrosity. I like the incorporation of a bullet mechanic here, which makes for more of a must-hit mechanic rather than a boss health style mechanic they could have gone for. As a result, it makes the bullets a form of defense rather than offense, since they aren't hurting him but rather just keeping him away and at bay from you. Doesn't change the fact that this part contains an unholy level of badassery. Another important thing to mention is that I think this mod manages to work Pico in so well, which is something a lot of mods that attempt to incorporate Pico miss in one aspect or another from my perspective. Or at the very least, none of them hit his character and personality square on the head like good old Mario Madness here. Pico here just feels as though he was ripped directly from the base game and plopped straight into the mod, with his unwavering confidence and badass persona remaining fully intact. Also, his expressions and sprite animations are spot on. But for now, whoa, teeth transition, where the hell did that come from? Where the hell are we? This has got to be one of the coolest transitions and backgrounds in the mod, featuring flesh-like spires and pillars with mouths infused into their sides. The one we find ourselves in now, standing in the back, also has an eye infused into its core, which glances back and forth between Mr. L and Pico as they sing. Pico continues firing off shots here and there, but to no avail, as again, they are only preventing Demise rather than serving to actually stop Mr. L. Eventually, the song comes to a slower section, in which the ghost of Mario, in this creepypasta named The Forgiven, seeks to aid Pico in stopping his brother, but only for a moment. This part is really nice, as both The Forgiven and Pico create this real nice harmony while singing together against this twisted version of a once caring soul. After The Forgiven finishes delivering his aid to Pico, the background fades out to reveal a stone brick patterned floor similar to that of Bowser's castle. After once again cursing out Mr. L, Pico finally gains the strength to make his final break, sprinting away from Mr. L as fast as he possibly can. However, this proves to be difficult as Mr. L appears on all sides of Pico, creating a wall of Mr. L's on either side. During this section, all of the Mr. L's move in sync as he sings his notes, creating this super cool visual you see here on screen. Pico's sprites here are also phenomenal, as mentioned earlier. They do a really great job at not only being super fluid for running animations, but maintaining that classic Pico personality. And, for the 1000th time, yes, the music here is peak. I love how Mr. L's vocals sound layered up, since there are quite a bit of them, and the duets sound fantastic too, as always. Upon Mr. L hitting some high notes and Pico combating them with his own flurry of notes, for once, we see something good happen to one of the protagonists in the mod. Wowee! Pico actually manages to escape from Mr. L as they all fade off into the background. In a moment of triumph, as he sprints away, Pico looks directly into the camera and shouts, Now, after all the past trials and tribulations, boyfriend and girlfriend find themselves reaching the end of 1-1. As they approach their final destination, someone stands in their way. Mario? In what is, in my opinion, the song which improved the most from its first version way back in V1, Fake MX, or False Hero, begins to sing a calmer melody than we've heard so far at Boyfriend. The instrumental here consists of a familiar motif that most version 1 fans will instantly pick up on. As this introduction progresses, we can see that girlfriend is visibly disturbed by what she sees in front of her, while boyfriend appears to be back to his usual confident self. Noticing a pattern here? Either way, the intro progresses into a duet between False Hero and Boyfriend, following the same general motif as earlier, which eventually, of course, leads to the drop. I mean, come on, do I even need to introduce this one? Powerdown V2 is easily a top 5 from the mod in my opinion, from almost every standpoint. When comparing the two versions, the overall visual design and gameplay is astronomically different, with only the basic melody from the original remaining. Starting with visuals, almost everything has received a complete overhaul. The Luigi head on the spike now has a body, which is overall much more detailed now as well. This of course being a reference to Lucas from Mario 85, the game in which MX is the main antagonist. In addition, there is also a half-bodied Toad lying next to girlfriend as she quakes in fear at the sight of the towering MX. And when I say towering, I mean holy hell is this guy tall. When comparing version 1's MX to version 2, the difference in height is simply incomparable. His sprites are generally a lot more clean and really give a great sense of his power with the poses he strikes. His upsprite in particular gives off this chaotic energy that makes him one of the more intimidating characters in the mod. In terms of other sprites, I love the jumping animation Boyfriend uses for his dodge, as it perfectly captures his energy with that huge grin he wears, and of course the fact that it's a Mario jump is pretty cool as well. I really love the screen effect applied here as well, with the edges of the screen being contorted and pulled away from the middle, as if this were being displayed on an older style television. The subtle lines on the screen and border of the TV also do a fantastic job in tandem with the screen effect to sell the whole retro feel. Lastly, in terms of visuals, while the rest of the background props such as the wall, castle, eye hill, and analog horror looking cloud don't receive too much of a visual overhaul, it is obvious that some subtle changes in art and animation have been made to make them overall fit better with the new visuals, such as the wall now looking a lot more 3D in comparison to its original version from V1. Overall, the sense of atmosphere has just been improved drastically, and I am all here for it. The song itself, like others, has a lot more oomph than its original version. I love how different Mario-related sounds, such as what I think is the fireball sound effect and the coin pickup sound effect, are used in the instrumental. Really adds to the whole, again, retro Mario vibe, and perfectly complements the song as a whole. MX's vocals have been made to sound a lot more varied and complex, rather than the simple and basic ones they were previously. The overall sound of the vocal instrument isn't all too different, but it's how it's pitched and used that makes all the difference. Take a listen. As the song progresses, it eventually comes to a slower bit, where the only sound aside from the instrumental is the jumps Boyfriend performs as MX throws pow block after pow block at him. Here, Boyfriend is looking more confident than ever as again, Girlfriend stands in the back, terrified, realizing the true danger they are in. Something that has proven to be a problem in the past, and sure enough, here it is again. Confidence will only get you so far. And as MX and Boyfriend go off over a mellow instrumental one last time, and Boyfriend finishes up his verse, the unthinkable happens. In the blink of an eye, Boyfriend's worst nightmare comes true. The one thing he thought could never happen. He never even considered the possibility. Sure, she could get hurt, but killed? Regardless, as he cries out in anguish, MX doesn't waste a second and continues on singing, taunting the now lost, shocked, and mortified Boyfriend. The two go off on a duet, with Boyfriend's vocals reaching constant highs as he attempts to fight his way through the last seconds of the song. And sure, he makes it out alive, but what's even the point now? She's gone, and she's never coming back. This is probably my second favorite moment in the entire mod, because it's played completely straight, with no need for jokes or sugarcoating. The animation that plays as Girlfriend is ripped apart is absolutely wicked, and the new Boyfriend sprites really give off the feeling of absolute dread and despair. Throughout this mod, we have seen examples of Boyfriend constantly showing love for Girlfriend. We have actually seen, not read through dialogue or over-the-top quotes, but we have seen through small gestures and actions that these two really do care for each other, which is what makes the death of Girlfriend here actually sorta heart-wrenching when compared to other mods. The instrumental pickup and vocal changes that I mentioned before during this part also really sell you on the desperation that both Boyfriend and the player are likely experiencing. This is, in all sense of the word, a tragic moment in the story, and the ending to the best song in the mod story-wise thus far. Boyfriend, now overcome with the disbelief and initial shock, sobs into his arm for a quick moment before being overcome with insurmountable anger. After all they've been through together, she's gone, just like that. Now and only now, Boyfriend sees all the danger and past warning signs for what they truly were. He has two choices now, either give up and let MX tear into him, thus ending his journey, or continue on and fight like Girlfriend would have wanted him to do. Filled with rage, Boyfriend stares down at what remains of his lover, and then up at her assailant. He cackles, prompting Boyfriend to follow directly in Lucas's footsteps. He must run, he must escape, or all of this will be for naught. So, with what little strength he has, Boyfriend runs. Demise is hands down the hardest song in the mod in terms of charting and scroll speed. As MX hunts Boyfriend down, the pace of the song keeps at a constant fast rate, forming a sort of endurance test. While there are no direct mechanics in place here, such as damaging arrows or health drain, the mere amount of pure chaos and difficult charting is enough to give even some experienced FNF players a troublesome time when it comes to maintaining a decent combo. Since this is a chase song, of course there is a constantly scrolling background, which features many familiar Mario structures such as pipes, stairs made of blocks, bushes, and hills similar to the ones found in Powerdown. The running sprites here for Boyfriend and MX, similarly to Pico, look absolutely spectacular in motion, especially MX, who somehow manages to appear even more threatening than he was in Powerdown. On the other hand, I love the details of tears and sweat drops coming from Boyfriend's eyes and cap respectively. It's highly uncommon to see Boyfriend both this angry and stressed at the same time, and again, have it be played totally straight. The franticness of both the vocals and instrumental does a lot to add to the tension of the scene, not letting up for even a second on the player, as mentioned previously. Despite MX's vocals being the same for the most part, there are little voice lines, screams, and laughs sprinkled throughout the song to show his more maniacal nature. Boyfriend also, similarly to the end of Powerdown, manages to hit quite a couple high notes in his duets with MX here. The instrumental is extremely chaotic and dramatic, with certain parts that sound like circus music. Either way, both the vocals and instrumental here are on point and give this sense that Boyfriend is fighting for his life. Things only get crazier about 2 minutes into the song, where the entire screen falls into a blue and black color scheme, aside from the notes. As this happens, MX's vocals shift to a mess of constant muffled, gargled, and glitchy screams. All the while, Boyfriend is still desperately fighting back against MX, all for the sake of escaping and avenging Girlfriend. After this section comes to an end, MX shouts out at Boyfriend one last time before the two of them become black silhouettes over a red background. This is the only semi-slow bit of the song in which multiple long hold notes are used. It really serves as a great break to process everything that's happened to Boyfriend over the last two songs up to this point. It's just long enough for you to piece your thoughts together before being thrust right back in the deep end for one more verse. After this verse from Boyfriend concludes, the color scheme of blue and black returns back to its normal state, and the arrows fade with 18 seconds left. What'll be Boyfriend's fate now?
Don't worry, we're safe.
Goddamn, I love Demise. And yay, Girlfriend's alive. Surely this will be the case for a long, long time. And surely nothing bad will ever happen to Girlfriend in this mod ever again. This one happens to be not only the last main song highlight I'll be talking about in this video, but also happens to be a song that I don't see a lot of public discussion about. And personally, I believe it deserves a lot more attention and praise than it currently gets. I am, of course, talking about Abandoned, featuring Classified Luigi from the Super Mario 64 Classified web series. He only actually appears once in the series he originates from, in the episode 090297, where he can be seen for just a second when Mario turns his head. The song itself begins with a zooming shot of a TV displaying a multitude of images before telling Boyfriend to leave. Though, being Boyfriend, he decides to stay and sing with this soulless, eyeless Luigi instead. Great idea. Right off the bat, the overall visuals for this song are quite different, featuring a new and unique camera perspective while keeping the TV effects from MX, which in turn uses the new Boyfriend sprites that are only specific to this song. Classified Luigi floats above the water below, which Boyfriend is currently standing in. As they sing, the area around them suddenly brightens up and introduces the song's primary mechanic, that being to hit these diamond-shaped things that I'm sure are related to Mario 64 but I wouldn't know, which you quickly learn are present to save you from drowning below the water as it rises in a similar fashion to the lava from I Hate You. As you hit these diamonds, Boyfriend and Classified Luigi begin to duet on one of the most underrated instrumentals in the mod. Like, bro, listen to this. Anyway, as the battle progresses and the water rises, we eventually come to a slower ballad section where the vocals become completely muffled. The screen also gains a blue tint, giving the impression that they are both underwater, despite that, of course, not being the case. Maybe a subtle case of foreshadowing? However foreboding this may be, we soon receive this jump scare from Luigi, cackling as if somebody told him the best knock-knock joke in the world. Once this occurs, we quickly switch over to 3D, okay then. Now everything on the screen aside from the UI is converted to a Nintendo 64 graphic style, similar to songs like Sunshine from Sonic.exe, except way more impressive in this case. Everything in the environment looks spectacular, including the new sprites for Classified Luigi and Boyfriend, which directly mimic their 2D counterparts. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the vocals also receive a slight change, now having a more grainy sound. From here, the song returns to verses between the two of them for a bit as the water begins to rise again. We get some particularly cool vocal melodies here from the two, especially Boyfriend, who I believe really shines in this song. At the same time, the Luigi vocals in this part and throughout the entire song are also quite nice, which I forgot to mention earlier. In combination with the lifeless sprites, the vocals feel really super hollow and empty, but in a good way. It feels as though the Luigi we're singing along with is already dead and robotically singing out these melodies against Boyfriend. However you look at it though, we eventually approach the climax of the song, where Luigi laughs one last time, triggering a duet between the two to start up. Here, the water begins to rise quite fast, and the health drain goes from extremely bad to worse the longer you stay under the water. Now realizing the danger he's in once again, Boyfriend sings every note perfectly, including the diamonds, and survives. But even then, he is left on just a sliver of health by the end. During this section, missing just one note could be your doom, and the mod makes sure that you're aware of this as you play, by having the very visible green health bar quickly push you down if you're not careful. Once this stress-filled banger of a section is over, the melody returns to a very calm yet eerie feeling. Both Luigi and Boyfriend take one turn singing at each other. Slowly, the song begins to come to a stop, finally ending on a somber high note. Alright, here we are, finally, all What? What do you mean? But that one comes out... Okay, well it's not like... Okay, fine, we'll do this one first. Now, yes, I know this song technically comes after the end of the mod, but it's featured as a mimic in the final canon song for the mod, and doesn't exactly make a climactic conclusion for the video. So, Unbeatable is generally seen as the best song in this mod by a majority of fans, and it's entirely understandable as to why that's the case. With a super catchy instrumental, phenomenal vocals on both sides, and amazing visuals, the reasoning behind its fame is obvious. This song is a direct reference to the decently creepy Nintendo ad from 1987, in which 3 different characters are shown. These 3 characters being Mr. Steal Your Soul, the Duck Hunt Dog, and King Bowser Koopa. The original ad was obviously a promo for the Nintendo Ultimate Game System, which claimed that you cannot beat them, likely both implying a challenge to potential players and stating that no other gaming console out there could beat them. Of course, this scary commercial would end up becoming perfect material for a horror-related mario.exe mod, and thus the song was born. In terms of visuals, all characters are polygonal 3D models, mimicking the style at which the original ad used itself. Obviously, with the original characters from the ad, this isn't too surprising. However, with Boyfriend and Girlfriend, it's actually quite impressive how easily the models work with each other and the ad characters. Of course, the ad character models are also impressive, being remade to be even better than their original versions from the advertisement, obviously. The backgrounds are also super nice, with some real neat visual effects sprinkled throughout, such as spiraling pillars of SYS heads, birds, fireballs, bullet builds, and fire rods. The backgrounds themselves complement whatever character is being focused on in each act of the song. For example, Mr. SYS, or Steal Your Soul's, background in Act 1 and 4 is a simple color TV static screen, which is used in the original ad when he is on screen. Duck Hunt Dog's background in Act 2 is, of course, the background of the game Duck Hunt, featuring the birds that fly by as you shoot them in the game. Bowser's background is, also, of course, his castle and bridge from the original Super Mario Bros. Game. All of the different vocals for each character are very unique and make for a very fun listening experience. Each character is perfectly distinguishable, using their voices from the ad as samples for their vocals. While lots find Mr. SYS's vocals are the best, I honestly find myself enjoying Act 2 with Duck Hunt Dog the most, specifically this one bit at 5 minutes and 12 seconds in. Take a listen. Despite this, Act 1 and 3 are also really great, featuring Mr. SYS and Bowser respectively. Honestly, I really would have liked to see more of Bowser in the mod overall, which is the one complaint you'll probably hear me make throughout this entire video, aside from the Alone v1 complaint. But the fact that we got him in this song is good enough for me. While his part is definitely the least interesting, it still has some good bits. Act 1 is also definitely a runner-up for favorite act, as that one don't miss section always catches me off guard and goes hard as hell every single time. Though, let's be honest, we'd all be lying if we said the best act award doesn't go to Act 4. The build up for this section and the speed change is enough to already hype me up from the get-go, but then the places it goes. Bringing in every single character possible from the ad. As they enter and leave, the backgrounds from each character clash with one another, along with their various background effects and props. They all join together in one last attempt to stop Boyfriend from quote-unquote beating them, since, of course, that's impossible. Or is it? Then this slow section, holy mother of God. This may just be my favorite part of the entire song. The self-harmonization here from Boyfriend is absolutely orgasmic. Bringing together everything we've experienced from the past songs in the mod. It's this climactic moment that really does a great job at setting up the finale, as all of the Nintendo goons join in for one final bout. For the remainder of the song, desperately attempting to win, the three of them cause your notes to split apart to either side of the screen. Regardless, Boyfriend presses on and manages to pull through, finally ending the song with a harmonized hold note. Funny enough, no matter how well you do, the maximum amount of health you can have by the end of the song is only half, meaning best case scenario, the match ends in a draw. So in the end, you never truly beat them. After all, you cannot beat them. Phenomenal song, phenomenal visuals, just wow, chef kiss to that one. Second favorite song of the mod. Wait, but SDB, then what's the first? After defeating all that M has set out for the two in this horrific wasteland, a distorted warp pipe appears before Boyfriend and Girlfriend. Together, they venture inside and discover what truly lies at the end of the road.
Well done. Very well done. I must say, I am impressed. You're a long way from home, aren't you? Tell me, why do you persist? No matter. All good things must come to an end. You broke our little deal, and I can't let that slide. And you fell right into my hands, thinking your path was clear, goalpost in sight. But no. Tell me, do you know what all of the creatures down there have in common? They're all in my game. They all belong to me. You cannot undo what has been started. Your feet was set in motion the moment you realized like a little cartridge. The both of you are my playthings now, and we're going to have so much fun. Come and face me, little rat. Your time has come.
With all that said, Boyfriend and his one true love prepare themselves for the battle of their lives. They both know it's do or die now, so they need to give it their all, or perish by M's hands. While they may seem overwhelmed and less powerful, they have seen that he isn't completely invincible. They can beat him. They must beat him. What will be their fate? Only time will tell. All Stars begins with a short cutscene showcasing M's transformation into our previously battled enemies throughout the mod before revealing his final form, thus marking the start of Act 1. Here, our intrepid heroes are placed in a city resembling the one from Mario Odyssey. Letters lie scattered across the broken pavement, spelling out the word Mario, and across from them, under the cold red sky, stands Ultra M, M's true and final form. Boyfriend and girlfriend stand next to each other, hand in hand as the song starts off a bit slow. Contrary to some popular opinions, I honestly really dig Ultra M's design here. The Cappy from Mario Odyssey, the tentacles reaching out from his back, and his lanky forearms really make him a sight to behold. I also appreciate the use of very saturated and bold colors here, as they serve to further debase him from reality. His poses are more playful than ever as he taunts both of them. After breaking their deal to sing 3 songs, M has finally had enough, and is here to put an end to their reign of victory, once and for all. Though, as his first solo verse ends, boyfriend and girlfriend pick it up together along with M, giving us our first instance of girlfriend singing in the mod. I also like how boyfriend now has more enthusiastic sprites that seemingly appear at random. It really goes to show that as long as they're together, they believe that they can truly do anything. As their verse comes to an end, with girlfriend leading, the song finally truly begins, with what can only be described as an epic final battle theme. As M sings out at them, both boyfriend and girlfriend sing together in harmony. The instrumental during this bit absolutely slaps, and the vocal melodies feel so big. Eventually, a slow bit starts with boyfriend leading in his own little solo. Then, girlfriend picks it up from him, going off on her own little bit. But then, the beat begins to build up, with M and boyfriend beginning a duet, which girlfriend soon infiltrates. This only lasts for a short while, both parties set on taking the other down, as the lovebirds begin a harmony section, slowly building up to Act 2. Boyfriend stands alone, facing a new Mario from a back angle. This Mario is known as Omega, and is a distraction created by Ultra M based off of the Raccoon Mario suit from Super Mario Bros. 3. Now left confused, boyfriend has no other option than to fight off this imposter with hopes that girlfriend is alright. As Omega and boyfriend duke it out, pipes appear from all around them, protruding from the dark, dooming abyss. In the background, tons of Mario props such as hills, blocks, and clouds pan in and out from around them. Here, Omega's sprites showcase a very showman-esque personality, which the character's creator has stated is similar to that of Kane from the Amazing Digital Circus. Boyfriend, on the other hand, simply bobs up and down to the music from a back angle, as we cannot really see his face or any of his other appendages. After some singing, Omega lets out a blood-curdling scream before returning to his singing, where he and boyfriend both harmonize. After some more singing and some more interesting motifs, Omega bids boyfriend adieu and lowers his head to take a bow, now being fully taken in by Ultra M. From the ashes below now rise a couple of semi-familiar faces. The first of these is LG, one of Omega's minions, resembling Luigi, but with the body of a Bendy and the Ink Machine searcher. He appears directly in front of boyfriend on a separate pipe, triggering a quick verse trade between the two. In just a couple seconds, another pipe rises up to reveal WAR, or W4R, on boyfriend's left, who is, of course, a twisted version of Wario with a massive pointing finger similar to Omega's idol sprite. Lastly, after another verse trade between those two, Yosh, or Y0SH, rises up from boyfriend's right side, resembling a Yoshi with FNAF pupils and charred hands. Looks like boyfriend is in for some triple trouble, if you know what I mean.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
After some closer inspection, it can be seen that not only Omega and War are pointing fingers at boyfriend, but Yosh and LG as well. While I can't seem to find any evidence or theories based off of this, my personal theory is that they are all placing blame directly onto boyfriend for all of this happening in the first place. As we have previously established by this point, not only was he the one to place the cassette in the console in the first place, but he also jumped off the warp star, sealing their fate to where they now find themselves. With this in mind, the three Omega goons begin to harmonize with each other with some absolutely peak vocal melodies, boyfriend occasionally interrupting to deliver his own verse or two. As the background continues to spin and boyfriend continues to sing with all his ever hopeful heart, suddenly the screen fades to black and they all descend into Act 3. Eyes watch from the crowd of lost souls as Ultra M stares down at Boyfriend. Initially confused and disoriented, Boyfriend shakes his head only to stare forward and unveil the undoubtable, terrifying truth to himself. Something he should have known was bound to happen from the very start. As M holds the flayed body of Boyfriend's now permanently dead lover on puppet strings, he joyfully watches from the sidelines, relishing every moment he possibly can. In utter disbelief and dismay, Boyfriend cries out in horror, knowing that this is really the real deal. This is what he's been out to do all along, and now he's done it. She's gone. But now what? She sits before him, a shell of what she once was. Vocal cords and limbs being pulled and toyed with by the grand puppeteer. This is all a joke to M, a game. But to Boyfriend, this is the end. His one reason to keep going now sits before him as an artificially animated corpse. So in one final plea, he calls out once more to the god of this wretched world to set her free.
Stronger and you are alone. You can't win, so why do you still fight?
Act 4. It's just the two of them now. He offered him a chance at salvation, and Boyfriend refused. This is the price he has to pay now. He stands atop his pipe, tears still streaming down his cheeks. Remnants of various Mario-related props and enemies float around the black abyss they find themselves in. Ultra M stands opposite Boyfriend, still taunting him with middle fingers and smiles galore. He uses the voices of those he controls, further getting into Boyfriend's head. He already knows that he's won. He's just having a little bit of fun with his toy before discarding it. They duet once again, now harmonizing together in certain parts, each performing their own solos knowing the end is growing near. Boyfriend, defeated, simply complies with all he has ever known to be and continues to sing. Despite his dire circumstances, his voice and power doesn't fade. Though, deep down, he knows, in the end, he has failed. This is his final stand. In one final fit of rage, anger, sadness, and regret, Boyfriend dons an expression of true and unharbored hatred towards M. He engages in one final duet, not to comply with M's wishes, but as his own swan song. So one last time, Boyfriend puts on a show of fear, resentment, heartache, and hope that he may reunite with his one true love once again. He did it. He got what he wanted. They're both gone. But is this even really what he wanted? That right there, in my opinion, is the best Friday Night Funkin' song to have ever graced this game. A true show of raw emotion and talent all combined into one fantastic performance from all angles. You got the art, which is beyond fantastic, the lineless style used in Act 4, all of the character designs throughout all of the acts, the background designs and various visual effects, such as the split screen or the zooms during the lyrical bits, the close-up shots on Boyfriend as he mourns in his final hour, and then the music. In terms of vocals, instrumentals, solos, duets, harmonies, it's all beyond perfect. Call me the biggest cornball you've ever seen, but never before in my life have I ever thought a Friday Night Funkin' song would make me feel semi-emotion when given story context. It takes a lot of careful crafting and revision to make something that inspires true emotion in someone, and this did it for me. No matter what form of media is being used, as long as the story is able to make its characters feel real and fleshed out, true emotion can be evoked in any shape or form. This Friday Night Funkin' mod does all that and more. You know, as someone who used to make fun of people who got emotional over the Versus Garcello mod, back God knows how long now, I would have never guessed that the tables would turn on me in such a way. The excuse to dismiss emotion by saying it's just an FNF mod is something that I now realize means absolutely nothing. Again, any form of media can tell a powerful story. It's simply all about how said medium or form of media is used to tell said story. And if a well-crafted story about overzealous cockiness and foolish love resulting in deaths of two beloved characters can be told through means of a Friday Night Funkin' mod, then so be it. Upon the release and discovery of this ending, lots of discourse and arguments were started over whether or not the ending was quote-unquote good. Some even tried to make the point that Boyfriend's death ruined the entire mod for them. Now, look, I understand that the majority of people making these claims are likely just kids who are used to having happy endings in their stories, but I want to clarify not only why this ending doesn't ruin the mod, but why it actually makes it all the more memorable. See, in story writing, the trope of having the main character die at the end is commonly used for one key reason. That being, when the story is all said and done, it stays with you. It resonates with you. If the main character wins and gets everything they wanted, then the story is finished in your mind. There's no more speculation or further thought put into the story from an outside perspective. The happy ending was achieved, and therefore no more discussion needs to happen in regards to the story. However, if the main character loses, then it's a completely different story, as no satisfying conclusion is given to the reader or viewer. In this scenario, much more conversation and speculation is likely to be sparked as a result of an unsatisfying ending. Therefore, the sadness that comes with an unhappy ending resonates with the audience a lot longer than that of a happy ending. Take the film Avengers: Infinity War as a prime example of this. At the end of the movie, spoilers if you live under a rock, Thanos manages to capture all 6 of the Infinity Stones and wipes out half of all life across the universe. This, of course, is a win for the bad guys and a loss for the good guys. We even get scenes of our most beloved characters being reduced to dust and blowing away in the wind. This, I guarantee, sticks with you far more now than it would have if the Avengers managed to stop Thanos, take back all the Infinity Stones, and save the world from being half erased, ending on a freeze-frame high-five between all the heroes as We Are the Champions by Queen plays in the back. My final point being, this ending will have Mario's madness not only be remembered for a long stretch of time past this point, but will also solidify it as one of the best mods to ever come out of this game. It has a realistic story in terms of fiction, with real characters, an amazing OST, beautiful artwork and designs, a plethora of good content, emotional scenes that actually work, and a memorable ending. Seriously, what more could you want?
I want a V3. Give me a V3. I want a V3.
Oh, well, guys, I think that's it for the video.
V3 Mario's Madness V3. Give me V3.
No. There's no V3. The story's over. It's finished.
But where's Pico? Where? He's alive. Pico alive. Mario V3.
No, please.
Who is Mark? What is a Mark?
Guys, no, please just...
Mark V3?
No,
Mario
no,
V3
please.
Pico. Mario Man is V3 with Pico. Mario Man is Mario Man. Mario Man is Mario Man.
Well, guys, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that like button. I hope you had fun listening to me ramble about this awesome mod that you should totally play for yourself if you haven't, by the way. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. See ya.
Mario Man is Mario Man.